Welcome to Shooting the Shit. My name is Betty Reed. I'll be your host for today. And today our guest is JB. He is a photographer here in Nashville, Tennessee, to artists and stars in the world, I guess.
Yeah. Pretty accurate.
It's pretty good. Yeah. Okay, good. All right.
Yeah. We'll go with that. They are global, but they're all in the U.S., so I don't have any art. I take that back. One of our artists is in the UK right now. So,
okay.
All right. That counts.
There you go.
Hey, good job.
Global. Oh, that's nice. That's so fun, though.
Yeah. Been here in Nashville for 12 years. Moved down in 2012. So, 12 years in September.
Oh, wow.
But been at my current job it'll be 10 years in January. So, same place. Been loving it.
Well, let's talk about your current job as a photographer.
Mm-hmm. Photographer, videographer, graphic designer. Basically, so digital is my bread and butter. My title is VP of digital, but unofficial title is the least dumb in the office, which unfortunately means I am the IT department. Should anyone have anything going wrong, which could be easily solved by either a quick Google or a quick restart. But before they do that, they got to text me or call me or come down to my office and be like, hey, can you help me? You
got Brenda just like, I can't figure out why the FaceTime is going up my nose.
Yep. and it's always on the days where it's just like, I have a million things to be doing, like 50 photos or whatever that all need to be edited and out the door within like a day or two. So like for any time our office, we have a couple of stages where, it's like a full hanging grid for like lights or LED walls. So we do band rehearsals. It's basically an open space for anyone to do whatever they want. But we do, a lot of times it'll be either band rehearsals before like a touring band will go out on the road. They'll just hone in and get everything they want because they can hang all of their actual equipment for if they have equipment or LED walls or whatever. And then we also do like productions. We've done commercials where we hire a variety of lighting and grip and audio and video teams.
And you work with all of that? Like you go into like all the lighting and stuff and all that as well and the setups?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I know enough to like do a very bare bones thing. There's now one other person in my department. When I first started at this company, it was just me. So I was running video, photo, teleprompter, lighting, and audio all at once. So I had to go around the room pressing record on a couple devices and then sit down at the teleprompter and just hope that everything is still running correctly.
You just have a different hat like for each one.
Literally
you
everything.
Just like line up a bunch of hats and like, all right now doing the lighting. All right, put another doing the. So yeah, you don't just click the camera. You do a lot more. Pray
that the camera stays in focus, like that they don't get out of the focal range and the depth of field. Oh yeah, good stuff. Yeah. Pray that the audio is actually capturing because many times it hasn't. But that was when I first started, when it was literally just me having to handle that.
Now you got like a team.
Now we've got a team. Because we realized, this is important. What we're like, my boss has realized just how critical some of the stuff we capture is. And it's just like, let's not half-ass this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, let's get pro. Which kind of happened. That realization kind of happened in 2020.
Oh, wow.
Like when the pandemic hit, we had this facility or the building we were at. We didn't have the stages that we have now, or at least the hanging potential. So we were recording an album for one of what we call our baby acts, someone that just hasn't broken down as a known touring artist.
Okay.
And they were producing their first studio album. We're all very excited for it. We had No, I don't know if I can say who was producing it, so I won't.
Okay.
But unfortunately, like right as like they were done, it was like, okay, this is the pandemic is hitting. You guys have got to go home. We're literally shutting down.
Yep.
And then maybe like a week later, my boss and like all the higher ups in our company like got together. We're like, what are we gonna do? So like myself and a couple of interns that I had at the time, we all took hard drives home and we're like, how can we repurpose stuff that we have captured over the years and make new content so that our social medias are still relatively active? Easier said than done.
Yes. Oh yeah.
But basically the higher ups, the powers that be decided we're going to revamp these 2 stages and put like full steel grid in, and we were going to put together a full like live production at the end of the year.
It's like kind of like a blessing in disguise. Getting everything shut down was a way to just kind of rethink, revamp, and remake to make it even better. Yeah. And it's hard to do that when you already have everything kind of planned and going. But like once everything stops, it's kind of like, okay, well, hey, how do we make this even better so that when we do go back at everything, it's going to be absolute fire,
stronger and better, and that's just it. Like since then, we've opened up another stage, and we're planning a 4th stage. And yeah, we for one of our main clients, like she comes in, she's got lots of branding deals, so she'll do like commercials and promos that are sponsored by this brand or that brand, and it's all done in-house at our place. If it's a multicam, we'll rent out the cameras, the lenses. A lot of times it's Sony's. Sometimes we'll do Ari's. But yeah, all the lighting, all the grip, all from local Nashville areas. Sometimes we've had to hire out and bring people up from Atlanta. But it's allowed us to get a better network of the crew and what's available here in the Nashville area and in the surrounding areas.
So what do you like to mostly use though when you do use like equipment? Like do you mostly go for like Sony and like kind of more of those?
So in-house, so a lot of times if we're not, there's a variety of different level of productions that we do. Sometimes it's just liners, which is very basic. Okay. Sometimes it's liners and like zooms. So instead of for our higher end artists or clients that maybe set up, their publicist maybe sets up a interview with them with People Magazine or one of like CBS Morning News or whatever, a morning show. Instead of having to go to New York or wherever, we can set up a Zoom and utilizing our Blackmagics. I'm sorry, I'm very roundabout way of saying we have in-house Blackmagic cameras. Gotcha. And utilizing our Blackmagic camera with another Blackmagic device, we're able to utilize that camera as a webcam and set up all the lighting and make it look professional.
Make it look actual there.
Correct. Instead of using like your webcam on your laptop.
Right. Little FaceTime, exactly. Little Skype.
Using the exact same software, Skype or FaceTime or whatever, but I mean like making it look actually professional.
And like and HD legit.
Exactly. And so the artist, the client, is able to see who she's talking to as if she's looking at the screen, but it's through the glass teleprompter, which is then connected to my laptop, which is the mirroring of the Zoom. And then we have lav, shotgun, mic mix. So they're getting all professional level as if she's right there in the studio.
We are truly in the future.
Yeah, we're living it.
Truly in the future. I mean, that's amazing.
So to go back to your question, Blackmagic is what we utilize in-house. But if we're doing anything of a higher level than liners or zooms, a lot of times we'll get Sony FX6s. One for they're nice and compact and they do a great picture. But if we're doing something for like the CMAs or the ACMs, a lot of times they have their director and they like Ari's or a very specific camera, which is fine.
Yeah, you kind of just use what they're kind of used to.
Yeah, whatever they're requesting. Or on occasion, we've actually shot individual scenes for a show that's been shot in LA, but with collaboration with the LA team, we're able to replicate their set to like the millimeter or the centimeter or inch. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, like replicate their scene perfectly and shoot our client's portion here at our studio instead of her having to go all the way to LA.
That's amazing.
And then we rent and utilize the exact same camera, exact same lenses.
And just all in that spot, like all just
spot.
Right there. That's amazing.
So she's able to just drive down the street and then go right back home and go to sleep in her bed.
Yeah.
The Nashville industry has just been growing so fast. And it's like before we were just Music City. But I mean, we're not the only company that has like impressive stages to do movies or shows or band touring in the Nashville area. So it's like it's a growing field right now. And there's enough people in the field in Nashville that we're not there, but it's like a lot of times people speculate it's like we might be like the next possible Atlanta to a degree for like film.
Okay.
I don't think we'll ever get to that level, but
it's kind of working its way.
We're a stepping stone.
Yeah.
That is now at least a possibility to come, or if they don't want to go to Atlanta, like we're close enough that like they can even consider us.
And I think too with Nashville, I think we're broadening our horizons on genres, right?
Yeah.
Like people still you think Nashville, you think country, right?
Sure.
That's always going to be.
Yeah.
But I've noticed a lot that there is more like people who are pop artists, people who are rap artists, people who are R&B artists. Like there are a lot more coming in or just like mixing, like a lot of mixing of genres. So
Absolutely.
Yes, you also like get that country in there, but it's like country rock, country pop, country R&B is so big right now. And just like mixing the genres, I think is broadening the spectrum for Nashville. And once, that happens with music, that starts happening with all the different aspects of like film and photography and like things like that, which I think is great. I think that will be such a nice thing for people to have that space and not be like, well, you're in Nashville, you're a country artist. Well, no, that's just not how it is anymore,
No.
which is, I think, is really nice.
Yeah.
And it's of course going to always have that space for country artists. It's
You can't not.
Yeah.
It established it so
clear. Yeah, exactly.
It's part of the core.
Hey, music lovers. This is Betty Reed, your host for Shooting the Shit, a podcast to help you navigate the music industry. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to help the podcast grow. And thanks for listening to me and my guest shoot the shit. So we're going to pivot a little bit.
Let's pivot.
I want to hear a couple stories from you about some experiences that you've had in your career. So let's start with how you started.
Sure.
What made you interested in photography and be like, okay, I love doing this. I want to make this my career.
Honestly, it started more with video editing.
Okay.
My mom had cameras growing up, and like I think she wanted us to, like my sister and I, to like maybe get into that.
Put the sleeve in your hand and open up. Yeah.
But I mean like just photo camera.
Oh, okay.
But I mean like I never really had the allure at the time. But in middle school, I had like an Apple Mac Lab computer class, and it had iMovie. And so that was like one of the projects we would have to do, like iMovie things, which I didn't get the editing bug necessarily from there. But my dad, he was good friends with the teacher of that lab, and senior year of high school, they were getting all new computers. And so they were literally basically throwing all the old computers away, which were fine. These are like the old, like blue or green or whatever.
The see-through back with the big,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Whatever
Classic.
Model that is.
Right.
But yeah.
Like Dell or something. There was like, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Mac or.
It was Mac. But I mean, yeah, like
Right.
purple, blue, and red and maybe teal. I don't know. There was a variety of them.
Right. No, I remember those.
But they were practically like tube TVs is what they kind of like remind. But they had a handle. I don't know.
Oh yeah, the handle.
So Dad got like 2 or 3 good ones. Like he just went through and he was like, all right, these ones are still functioning well enough. And so that was like my first personal computer. We had like the family PC.
Right. We always had the family computer.
But this one was kind of mine. And it had iMovie in it. And I got into like making like senior class photo slideshows. And then I think I was in choir and show choir. I know, shocking.
Really?
I was.
Baritone?
No, I was tenor. Because they were desperate for tenors.
Oh, yeah.
So
we're always desperate for, always desperate for tenors. Fair.
So it's like, even though baritone was definitely more my range, they were like, you're good enough. You can do tenor. I'm like, but I don't want to. But so one of the choir directors, he was also, as a hobbyist, a video editor. So he made like an end of the year montage. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. So I think for my senior year, he did that for junior year. And I think for senior year, I made an end of the year montage for the choir. And so like, that's where I started getting the bug. I went to college at Bowling Green State University, Ohio, originally for computer programming because I like video games. And I was like, hey, I'll program and I like video games. I'll program video games. It'll be a lot of fun. That requires a lot of math. I'm not good at math. I'm terrible at math. I didn't realize that at the time.
Coding. That's basically all numbers.
That's what it is.
That goes right over my head. So,
but my freshman year, there was a 24-hour like dance-a-thon or something like that, and my now brother-in-law, he was in this other major, which was called VCT, Visual Communications Technology, which is essentially the whole Adobe suite. So video editing, Photoshop, web design, graphics, print, everything. So I helped him out on that. And he's like, dude, you're really good at this. Like, have you thought about this major instead of the one that you really don't like right now? You're not good at. And I was like, okay. So I swapped with that. And then that's where I got the photography bug and editing was still my bread and butter.
Yeah.
Because there's just something magical about like sometimes just throwing all your clips into a timeline. And as you're editing, sometimes magic just happens and things line up perfectly. And you're just like, I don't know how that happened. I don't think I could do that again if I had tried. But the magic of editing is what got me into the photo and video world. And then as things progress, it's like I realized how important I became a jack of all trades, but it's like I realized how important it was for the production side, not just the post-production side. And I love the production side almost just as much. So it's like, I got a photo camera, video camera. I started out as an Nikon and then I got into Canon. Was a big Canon fan until they went mirrorless. And I edited some mirrorless Canon photos. I just didn't like its pixel data on like the super minutia when you zoom in 1,000% when you're doing some fine detail stuff. I didn't really like how the pixels looked. So I'm now a Sony guy, but any digital camera is great. Like, honestly, it's like if you can get any camera, doesn't matter if you're a pro or not. Like if you have the passion and you have the eye, you can make magic happen with any camera, whether it's a piece of crap and a kit lens.
Yeah.
But once you have enough money, and you build up your repertoire, you can get that golden fixed aperture lens where it doesn't matter which focal length you're at, you're still at 2.8 or below, get that nice depth of field, shallow depth of field, get that more pro look. So, but I graduated in 2011.
All that to me though is just like,
over the head.
I pressed the play button. I press the little red button and I smile. I've gotten better. Sure. I'm more of a you play with it, kind of play around with it, see what it does instead of reading up on it kind of thing. But which is not
necessarily the wrong way to go. I mean, like I would say I learned more. Like the education, fantastic. I'm so glad I got it.
Yeah,
but experience, it gives you so much more than being in the class will ever give you. So, and in my preference, I would say, maybe this is one of your questions, is not capturing life, I guess you could say. So it's like not trying to stage anything.
Gotcha.
Capturing the moment without being in the moment. Well, so which makes me then immediately think I did a couple weddings, which I would not recommend for any photographer, but it's a good way to get into the entry level, I would say, because like you probably have a friend or two who at some point
good stepping stone
needs a cheap photographer, and guess what? You are the best option, or possibly even the only option.
Right.
And I mean, like,
been there.
Do it for like $150. Like, I mean, like you're doing it for the experience more than anything else, in my opinion, or at least for me, that's how it was.
Absolutely.
And also, I mean, like a favor, like your friends, whatever. Right. But it weddings especially, it's like, that's one of those things where it's like, the moment will either pass you by and they're not going to redo it. So it's like, you got to be on your freaking toes. Is this a PG-13? Can we curse?
Oh, absolutely.
Right, you gotta be on your
shooting the shit.
toes.
Yeah.
Okay. You gotta be on your fucking toes.
Do you do concerts? Mm-hmm. Do you do shows?
So a lot of times, for some of our clients, if they have a line of shows that are relatively close to each other, like say in a weekend or 4 to 5 days, it might be worthwhile for me to fly out, hop on their bus or whatever, and go to each of the shows, capture a weekend's worth of photos that we can then bring back, edit, and utilize for like the rest of the year.
That's awesome.
So some weekend warrior stuff. But yeah, that's a lot. And concert photography is probably my favorite.
Is it?
Because I mean, when you are with the band and you have like full access to basically everywhere and you have the right equipment, it's great because you can be in the pit. You can get, and also if you're going to be on for a multitude of days, you learn where and what happens when, because not to ruin anyone's magic with live concerts, but it's like, it's a choreographed thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like obviously there's going to be some off the cuff items that will happen at almost every show, but a lot of the things are very much structured so that they meet a certain timeline because they have a timeline that they can't go past. Right. And if they go past, there's a fee that they have to pay, and they don't want to pay that fee.
Nobody wants to pay that fee.
Some of these clients, like maybe they've got hundreds of millions of dollars, but not all of them do. And so it's just like, I don't want to pay this fee. So it's like, I'm going to stick to that timeline. And some people, like, it's their hometown, so they're going home right afterwards. It's like they don't want to stick around any longer than they have to. Not that they're rushing out the door and ruining the audiences.
They're having fun.
Exactly.
Right.
And then that's another thing we look at is also, it's like, do the venues look nice or cool? Would they give a dynamic shot? Like if I did a crowd shot and it's like at a theater, a cool theater, like would it look neat to capture that like magical moment or the quote unquote money shot, like from behind the drummer or the singer or whatever.
And they're all cool too. Like when they're different, like the Basement East is very different from the Ryman.
Oh yeah.
But you can still get some cool shots from either or because it's, you know, sometimes two very different.
It just might change as the photographer, what I'm going to prioritize my position for that venue. Like if I know I'm going to get some great crowd shots in this venue in 2 days, I'm not going to prioritize crowd shots today. I'm going to prioritize side stage or pit or behind the band, something like that.
Right.
So that's nice. And it's like, I can do portrait photography, but like, I'm not one of these high-end photographers that can tell you how to position yourself and make you feel good about yourself while photos are being taken. Gotcha. I will try and they'll be fine, but that is a art and science in and of itself. I am much more comfortable just capturing moments that I don't have to tell them what to do. Like they're in their element.
You like the raw moments.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, unfortunately with any photography, like, that requires a burst, a heavy finger on your camera shutter, because you never know when that right moment will be captured. Because a lot of it really comes down to luck, like timing, placement, and luck.
Yeah. Especially with movement. If you have someone that moves around a stage like crazy, like Chapel Roan, right?
Mhm.
She moves around that stage. I had a friend that did photography for one of her concerts, or a friend of a friend who did photography for one of her concerts. And I was like, some of the ones that she captured were so amazing. But some of them were like movement captures, which are just as cool. Like you get that little like, I don't know what a technical word.
Motion blur?
Just motion blur. Okay. Yeah. But like the way it was done was just so beautiful. Yeah. So we're gonna pivot. I want to hear a fun story from you.
Okay.
Fun story of something crazy that happened that, like, you know, everything was going well. You were doing a really cool shoot, and then
Let me think. Fun story. Things are going well. I don't know if it's fun. I have a couple stories that it's just like, it's amazing that I wasn't fired.
Okay.
How about that?
Love that.
We'll go with those.
Oh, please.
And they're basically the exact same problem. And how fun they are, I don't know. But we'll go down this road.
Okay, great.
It'll be great.
Perfect.
Both for the same client, but very different end results. So the first one is we go down to his place basically to sign him, to do our final sales pitch to him, to get him to so that we can be his management company or team. So he invites us to his home. Basically the deal's already done. It's just kind of like, make sure, hey, this is the whole team. This is us. How do we gel together? And everything went great. He signed on the dotted line, but he brings us into his home. Wonderful place. He's got 2 golden retrievers, and this is in Florida. 2 golden retrievers, and he's got a lovely like in-ground pool, but he's like right on like a river or channel. So he's got like a boat, and ducks just frequent his yard all the time. One duck in particular, evidently was like abandoned. And so he basically raised it. I forget what the duck's name was. Champ, maybe. But it basically was raised with the 2 golden retrievers. So it wags its tail in excitement. Stop. Anytime he shows up. So he's basically a dog duck. Adorable. Great.
Amazing.
So we then, everything's good. Everything's signed. Hey, let's go out. Let's get some lunch or dinner before the team has to hop back and fly home or go to the hotel. I'm not sure which one.
No duck hunting, right?
No duck hunting. No. Okay. But we go to a place that is like a Asian fusion, I think. Okay. And almost everyone, including the client, orders sushi. But I saw on the menu, I think Peking duck or something like that. And I was like, I've never had that. What? And it's just like, one thing you need to know about me, and some of my coworkers will adamantly agree, is that I'm notorious when it comes to like free food and taking advantage of it. I will go out of my way for free food.
Amazing.
Even if it's not like great food.
But it's free food.
It's free food.
Yeah, so it's great.
I don't know how that got ingrained in me, but it's there. Now, I'm a lover of food in general, but I mean, give me good food. Forget about it. Yeah. So I've never had this Peking duck. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I order it. No one really thinks anything about it. Everyone else ordered sushi. So it's like, of course, they get their sushi first. And then out of the kitchen comes this roaring, sizzling sound as the server comes out with it. It is literally like just a dish that is literally just sizzling.
Yeah.
As it's being put in front of you. And everyone on my team evidently is just like heads down, trying to hold it in to not laugh. Because basically, I mean, I'm not, but I'm eating his pet duck.
Right. No, I mean, you're eating a duck.
That is more or less how they are taking it. It's just like, I mean, I'm not, but he has a pet duck and I'm eating duck in front of him, just as we've agreed to manage him and he's agreed to allow us to be his manager. These guys are great.
Yeah, they wouldn't do anything. Yeah. Sir, are you eating duck?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. It was good. I don't really remember too much about it, but we do not let that go.
Is that just like an inside joke now?
It is.
That's amazing. Did he at least find it funny, or was he just like?
I mean, like, I don't think he was a good sport about it. Like,
Okay.
I don't think he gave me too much shit about it. No, the next story with him, he definitely still will to this day give me some shit for.
This episode is brought to you by Jack Brown's Germantown. Nothing like the perfect combination of beer and burgers. With one of the largest selection of beers and unique burgers to try, you'll never be disappointed.
His tour manager, I'm on his tour manager shit list because of this next thing.
Oh God.
So it was a live. This was a concert in town in Nashville, and it might have been at the Schermerhorn. But they had a backdrop, like a fabric backdrop that they put up for all their shows. And when they were setting up and doing like sound check and everything like that, I was talking to the tour manager and he's like, yeah, this is our last show with this backdrop. Without asking, he just volunteered this information that this was going to be like the last show with either the last show or soon to be last show with this particular backdrop. They already ordered a new backdrop to replace it, and it was on their way. This might not sound like an important detail, but I assure you this is a very important detail.
Okay.
Because as the show is going on, I'm all around taking photos side stage in the audience. I mean, the Schermerhorn is a beautiful venue. And eventually I feel like I've gotten enough photos to suffice to fulfill my duty as the photographer for the show. His day-to-day tour or day-to-day manager, my coworker, asked me if I got the shot, the money shot. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, the money shot can theoretically mean a lot of things, like just the iconic shot. But it's like, in your mind, what is the money shot, sir? He's like, the one behind like the drummer where you get like the whole crowd and everything. And as he's asking me if I have it, one of the Schermerhorn staff members is like, oh, you should go up in the balcony behind the stage or the band and you'll get a great shot from there. And I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, I'll take you there. Only problem, the sheet is blocking it. So it's like, I have no view of the band. And I don't know why she thought I'd get a good shot from there, but it's like, there is no shot.
Like, you're behind the sheet.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So at that point, they're already in their encore. And I'm like, I don't know if I have enough time to rush back down
to get that shot,
to get behind the drummer and get that shot. Because my coworker was adamant, you got to get the shot. So my mind then thinks, oh, this sheet is about to be retired. And I always carry a knife. So.
Oh, you did not.
I did. I slashed and cut through a little bit.
Yes.
Tried to fit my lens through it. It couldn't fit.
No.
So I slashed some more.
You just kept going.
I put like a 6 to 8 inch gash, like slit, and no one in the audience was paying attention and would have noticed. But I thought, and like she was looking at me and she was just like, oh no, what have I done? She wasn't saying
that's a little bit on her. But
so I had a fisheye lens at the time and I was able to get it through, but there was still like a flap of the sheet that was kind of blocking it. So I ended up having to like just take a burst while I was just panning left and right, knowing that I would just have to fuse a couple of photos together in post to make it look good.
Right.
I then get the shot and like she's mortified basically for me. I have to then I go back downstairs and we're backstage. And so ultimately there was enough time for me to go down. I could have made it because they're still going, but it was just a one-off. I hadn't seen their show in a while. So it's like, I didn't know how much time I had.
Yeah. I
made a judgment call. Whether or not it was the right call, I feel as time has progressed, yes, it was the right call. But I go backstage and I see the day-to-day manager and I'm like, I might have done we might have to bleep that name.
Okay,
I don't know.
that's fine.
So I said to the day-to-day manager that I did something. I forget how I phrased it, but he was like, "Oh no, what happened? What did you do?" or something like that. And I'm like, "Can you come with me?" At this point,
you have a sewing kit.
Yeah. I was like, "I'm going to need you to help me talk to the tour manager. Like, I did something." And he's like, "What did you do?" I might have, to get the shot that you so adamantly needed me to get, I may have done something a little bit more permanent than wasn't originally intended. And so it's like, I explained to him, it's like, he said that they were getting a new one and all this, and he's laughing.
Yeah.
He thinks it's hilarious because he's not the one in trouble or going to be in trouble.
Right,
it's me.
Right. So
the show's wrapped and they're starting to like tear down. He and I go on stage and we are like, "Hey," to the tour manager, like, "Come here for real quick." And he is just bleep it out. He's just trying to hold in laughs, giggles, while I'm explaining what I did to the backdrop, and he's thinking we're pulling a joke on him. Like, he doesn't think I actually did it. And we're like, no. If you look right up there, there is a 6 to 8 inch gash. And he's like, "No." And then he's like squinting because it's really not that obvious.
Right. I mean, oh man, was he?
Oh, once he realized we weren't joking, he venom in his eyes. Like, there was hellfire in his eyes. He's like,
he did say that they're literally getting a new one.
Thank you. Exactly my point. But he was also very busy with teardown. So he's like, "I can't deal with this right now. Like, go away."
Go.
They have to, or since they were in town, they were going to have an in-person meeting with my boss and his day-to-day manager. So the tour manager came as well. And I knew I had very limited time to make sure I had that photo done, edited, and looking fantastic.
I want to see that photo.
It came out great.
Yeah.
Is it not necessarily... I don't think we've really used that photo a whole lot. Like, I would print and frame that photo. I would. I haven't yet. Oh. I need to. I want to get it signed by him.
The tour manager or the band?
Both.
Yeah.
At this point. But yeah, so the artist and the tour manager come in, and I already have it up on my monitor. It's like, I'm not even like waiting for them to ask. It's like, it's there. Just see it. And so they come in. My new nickname for them is Slash. I'm Slash. I find I get nicknames. But yeah, so the tour manager was like, "All right, that's a good photo." And I'm like, "Okay, we're all right."
There we go.
And that was the last. Like, the artist was laughing. He was fine with it ultimately,
right?
Because I think he also was of the mindset like, we're replacing it.
We're replacing, yeah.
And now it's a part of history, and I'm a part of history because it'll be up in a museum, and it's like, see this slash, this gash. Our photographer, who is now nicknamed Slash, he put that in there trying to get the money shot due to his superior. Yeah, his coworker needing to get that money shot. But yeah, I find I have a good relationship with a couple of our artists because I get, compared to a lot of the other coworkers, I get one-on-one time with them because I go out to their shows. And so it's like I get FaceTime with them. So it's like it's nice for them to see someone of the team, to know that they're like being supported and being recognized and seen. But it's like I get to shoot the shit with them. Like, I have no real power over anything that they do. So it's like I feel like they feel more open to talk about stuff compared to like if their day-to-day manager is there, they need it. Like they're feeling like they should be talking more business.
Yeah, they need to put more of a professional face on.
Yeah, with me, I'm just a bud.
Yeah,
you know, it's like I'm gonna capture some photos. They can ask me some questions, and
I think
whatever.
That's great, and that also like helps the artist or the band or everybody kind of feel more comfortable and feel like themselves. Because that's, and when I work with people that I'm having a good time with and having a good vibe with, I feel like that comes out so well in the finished product.
Yeah.
So that's always nice. And like, you're such a chill person. You're so easy to talk to. So I can see how like are just like, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, bring this guy around anytime where it's a good time. If you're gonna do something professional and fun, you gotta have a good time with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you got to keep a good atmosphere to it. And like, so another artist that we have, he likes me a little more than he likes, or what he puts on of liking his day-to-day manager. So sometimes his manager will text me if he's not responding to his messages that I'm CC'd on. He'll be like, "Hey JB, can you just like bump it?" And sure enough,
poke.
as soon as I do the poke or the bump, he responds back.
Yeah.
And like the day-to-day manager, he doesn't care that that's the situation. He's just like, whatever it takes. Like I want you to have that kind of relationship so that's like so we can keep this flowing and going.
Good cop, bad cop almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's like, whatever it takes us to get to the finish line, let's do it.
Yeah.
Now, a less fun thing that neither of those were fireable offenses, even though they might have sounded like such. But I've had, going back to more of like what I do with photos and video and data, I have had moments where I've either formatted SD card before very important files have been transferred over, like a client coming up, traveling miles and thinking that my intern or coworker has transferred the files, and in a rush, we need a fresh SD card. And so formatting something before it needs to be formatted, I've done that, unfortunately.
Oh no.
On more than one occasion. That is, if any videographer or photographer listens to this, they know the feeling. It is, anytime you have to format a card, you're like, did I back this up?
Ooh.
Or am I sure? And then you're like, no, I'm not 100% sure. Let's just get another SD card and then back that up.
That's like a gut drop kind of.
And when it happens, And before our company got like an established like server that is in like another room, we just were full of like hard drives. And I didn't necessarily have a good setup like I do now with my desk. And so it's like while transferring files or having a hard drive plugged in, I've had to get up and trip over the power line and the hard drive. And this is before SSDs. So it's like there's a spinning disk, and the spinning disk is active and running, and the tripping puts it on the floor. And all of a sudden it's not working. It's like, hey, knock, knock, knock on the boss's door. Oh, it's all gone. And no. I've had to say that a few times, and like, God bless my boss. He has been so fantastic. He is a ball buster, but he will back up his employees.
Yeah, that's a good
hands
boss.
Down.
That's good.
Many times over. But it's like, if you betray his trust, it's a flip of the switch. So it's like there's been a couple coworkers that have done something or another, and it's like you're dead to him at that point.
Oof.
But it's like, as long as you're just a good employee, and like, I mean, yeah, he'll never betray you.
He'll give the respect that he gets, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you run into hard times, like he'll help you out. So it's like, I cannot say how thankful I am to be in the position that I'm at the company I'm at.
Yeah.
And the clientele we have, they're all great. But it's like, there's been times where it's like some clients will like make a comment here or there, and he'll push it back and like, no, that is not the case. Like he'll
stand up for his employees. That's good.
Yeah.
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 That's good.
So that makes a huge difference. Can
you say like some of your favorite people that you've worked with? Yeah, sure.
I mean, like clients or people that are clients that possibly worked with?
Either or.
Trying to think which would be the better route. Well, yeah. I mean, like I'm not in any means an NDA to not announce what clients we have. Yeah. Just possibly what active projects we have. But
right. Well, that makes sense.
So I mean, like our biggest client is Dolly Parton, and so she's hands down has been the most amazing. And she's the one that we most actively work with because she has the most projects going on. And
I mean, she's businesswoman 101.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, and
she has Swedish she loves.
Yes, she is. Oh. But it's like that's crazy that she's able to be as wonderful and sweet as she is, but know how to still like know when to basically
turn it on. Get that professional.
Exactly.
Yeah. Be professional. This is business.
Yeah.
This is, and then still have that absolute, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Like, she seems like when she'd walk into a room, she'd have that kind of mother effect. Like, mother's here.
And she's one of those people that like, she wants to know everyone as well. So it's like all the crew, like anytime someone wants like a photo with her, no problem. Meet and greet photo, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, there's definitely a handful of crew members that's like, she knows them by name and will anytime like she comes in, she'll ask them how they're doing, how their dog's doing, or how their sister's doing.
That's amazing.
So it's like, she's very personal.
Have you ever had artists that are like the complete opposite, that are just kind of like, and not like in like a snooty or like whatever kind of way, but more of a, I just want to do business. I don't want to know your name or your dog or your child.
There's been some, I mean, none that I would name. There's been some, but those are the ones that we don't keep long term.
Gotcha.
Like, it tends to be like, if that's their attitude, there's something else that won't work in and around them.
Yeah.
That ultimately then works its way up to the boss. And that's eventually like, we might hang on to them for a while and try and slug through it, but eventually some other thing falls through the crack and it's just like, this isn't going to work out.
And it seems like your boss wants to have a good environment for his employees.
This episode is sponsored by Red Bicycle Germantown. It's more than a coffee shop. The staff feel like family, the food is out of this world, where you'll always get good coffee for a good morning.
About my major that I think is really great that they do this or enforce it is that they required you to do at least 3 internships. So you get real world experience. I prioritized my third one to be like in a major city. So I was thinking New York, Chicago, LA, something in those places. So like it would stand out, 1, on my resume, but 2, I get some real world where I would likely want to end up possibly. So I had interned in New York City, stayed in Brooklyn, but the internship was at an ad agency, so like graphics and whatnot, in Manhattan. And I stayed at honestly, that internship is why I'm down here today. I stayed at a public student housing that a bunch of Belmont students were staying at, because that's where Belmont East, quote unquote, was. There's a Belmont East and a Belmont West in LA. So they stayed at that same housing, and then they would go into Manhattan for their classes or internship or whatever it was that they were doing. And I stayed friends with a handful of them. One in particular, he got a job at iHeartRadio here in Nashville, Clear Channel at the time. And so that's kind of how I got down here. But I feel like I got a lot of those like scrapes and falls on a variety of my internships. So I got to kind of sharpen my teeth with safety nets around me, or something, training wheels, if you will. That I feel like if I was just going full into the job or into the experience, I wouldn't have had that safety net. So it's like, I cannot be more thankful for at least that portion of my college life.
Yeah.
As long as you have a creative bone in your body and want to really get into it, and it's your passion, like it's a hobby that turns into a job, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about it. If you want to find a job that you're going to like and ultimately have longevity, I feel like probably said so many times before, but just like, do something you like.
Yeah.
Figure out what you like. If you do it enough, and there's going to be somewhere where you can work that into a financially viable option.
Right.
Maybe not like the most lucrative, but for me, luckily, photography and video, with social media and whatnot, content became a very important thing.
Yeah.
For a lot of businesses. So
it's number 1 right now.
I kind of lucked out with what my hobby was at the time.
Yeah. So I appreciate you, JB, for coming out and shooting the shit with me.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure.
We can always do it again. This time, maybe next time at your place.
Yeah, I've got the studio that is sound and lighting and cameras and audio.
You want to invite Dolly and a few of your friends?
We've got it all. Yeah, maybe.
No, that's all right. I mean,
maybe. If you can make it happen.
I mean, it's not a not option.
Sure. Yeah.
No, but I appreciate you coming out. I appreciate you shooting the shit with me and coming on here and chatting with me. It's been so fun, and we'll meet up again and
absolutely had a blast.
Go to JB's with JB
while we're shooting the shit.
Yeah. It's so nice to get all these parts of the industry here on my podcast, and I can't wait to explore so much more. Thank y'all for listening. I'm your host, Betty Reed, and I appreciate you listening to us shoot the shit.